Hello, guys. Welcome, everyone. Good evening to everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this fourth interview from this real time series sponsored by Team Real. Today, guys, today is a very special day because today we have a special, very, very special guest. Not one of the, but the best player from in AoE4 in the world at the moment. We have someone who started off his professional career as a competitive player when he was only 16 years old. This player has been participating in participating in over 177 tournaments throughout those 11 years of professional career. This player has made over $260,000 playing online video games. He started off with StarCraft 2, then he moved on to Overwatch just a little bit, then AoE2, and finally Age of Empires 4, game in which he has become the RedBull Wololo champion from this 2020. Let's please welcome everyone, MarineLord. Hello, MarineLord. How are you feeling today?
Doing good, and you?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm very, very happy to have you here. And before we even start, let me please thank you very much on behalf of the Real team and on my behalf too for having accepted this interview and sharing your time with us.
No problem. All good.
All good, all good. Also, let me please tell you that feel free to comment whatever you feel like. Bring up whatever subject you like. Is this is your home? Okay, just feel like
Yeah, no
home.
problem. Okay.
Okay. Good. So before we even start the interview, before we jump into questions, for those people who still don't know you that much, because a lot of people, you have a very big fan base, MarineLord. Can you tell us who is MarineLord? Where does MarineLord come from?
I come from the north of France, in a small town. I'm 27. My name is Alexi, and I've been playing my whole life pretty much. And I've been playing full time since 9 years.
Full
StarCraft 2, as
time.
you said, Overwatch, AoE2 a little bit, but more for fun than
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really try hard in AoE2. It was just a fun game to play for me. And AoE4 obviously now.
Uh-huh. You've said that you've been playing full time since you were like literally a kid. You were only 9 years old. Like, what do your parents think about that? Like, you were only 9 and you would spend most of your time playing video games.
I mean, no, at 9 it wasn't that bad, right? But I think like I started taking it seriously at maybe 15,
Uh-huh.
and I was pretty much getting a small salary. You know, when you start, you don't get a big one. You get like 200 or $300, but it's already a very good one when you are so young. And then you get paid at trips to LAN events, and you start playing more seriously. And if you are good, eventually, like you find a good team, and you can go full time pretty much. So I started like basically I got my A plus level in
Mm-hmm.
terms of like study. And then I could do whatever I want because my parents were fine with it. So just went
So,
into Team Millennium, and
mm.
they signed me for like a good salary, and I had a gaming house and everything. So it was a great start.
so not only you were an amazing player back then because you were only 15, you said, when you attended your very first tournament, but you were
Yeah.
also a very good student, and that's why your parents uh, didn't mention anything. They would just let you play your video games as long as you did well in school, right? You could play whatever
Yeah,
you
they
like.
they wanted to get my first diploma, right? And
Uh-huh.
then they were like, okay, once you get that, you can do whatever you want, but we will prefer you to keep studying. But since at the same time, like I had the possibility to have a big contract in the biggest French team, because that was a deal pretty much. Like I spoke with a manager from Millennium at the time, and Millennium was super big, and he was like, "Yeah, if you want to keep studying, you can keep studying, obviously. Or
Mm-hmm.
if you want to go full time, you can just sign a contract with us, and you will get salary, you will get everything paid basically when you go to offline events, and you will get a gaming house in Marseille." So
Oh,
I took
that,
this opportunity, and it was great.
that's a dream for a 15-year
Yeah.
old. That's a dream. And did you actually move to Marseille?
Uh, I didn't fully move to there, but like sometimes I would go for maybe 6 months of boot camp, sometimes like 3 months. It was just a great place to be, so I could go whenever I wanted, basically.
And this was when you played StarCraft 2.
Yeah, at the start, yeah.
And then you stayed in that team and moved on to different games, or?
So I joined Millennium in 2013 and I left them in 2017. And I didn't leave them because I went to Overwatch at this point, so I couldn't stay with them. But even though like if I wanted to stay with them, it was the end of Millennium at this time. They got bought out by a bigger company and they didn't do StarCraft anymore. So I just moved to Overwatch for like 1 year and didn't like the team game too much. I like to be 1v1. It's better to practice. It's better to do everything, honestly. Team games is a pain.
Is it pain? Well, we will speak later about this new tournament that's coming up, this 40K tournament. We'll talk about that later. So that was a massive change, right? From an RTS game such as, StarCraft 2, very like heavy micro needed there, onto a shooting game. Like a pretty like crazy game with people jumping all around. How did that change affected your gameplay?
I mean, I'm pretty good at most video games, so at first it was just more like a new challenge to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had a lot of friends going to Overwatch. So for example, my friend Lilbo, who was also a pro gamer with me at Millennium for StarCraft 2, he moved first to Overwatch and it was going alright for him. So I made the same decision, and at first it was a lot of fun, but it's true, like team games are very different. For example, when I play StarCraft or whatever, AoE4 or AoE2, I can play pretty much whenever I want. So if I want to play 12 hours a day, I can. On a team game, we're gonna get maybe like 4 hours of practice a day if everyone shows up. And sometimes, we are not all very tryhard like me. So it's hard to find people that with the same mentality. So it was not very easy to actually find people that would suit me, right?
Yeah. So you consider yourself a very competitive player.
And I think like every pro gamers are competitive, but we are competitive in different fashion, I think.
But like you're saying that you don't like team games that much because they don't allow you to practice as much as you would like, to play as much as you would like, because you need everyone to be there, right? Whereas when you're playing solo games, you can basically practice whenever you feel like and as long as you like.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay, interesting. And that was on your very, very early stages. After that, what happened?
After Overwatch, I moved back to StarCraft for a while. And what I was doing was like, so like for the first 9 months of the year, you can play StarCraft full time and have tournaments. And then you have a little break. And during those little breaks, I was playing some AoE2 for fun, basically. So I was just competing in StarCraft 2. When I came back, it was very hard. Very, very hard. It was like, when I left, I was very good. But when I came back, I was obviously very bad. And on top of that, everyone got way better. Yeah. And on top of that, Europe was getting way better because of people like Serral and Raynor and Clem. So it was very hard to climb back. But eventually I did very well. And after a few years, AoE4 came out. And like, StarCraft is a fun game to me. But it was more like, it's the biggest RTS I can play. So I'm gonna stick to it. It's not like I love StarCraft 2. It was more like I love competition and I love RTS. So when a new RTS came out and I felt like I had more fun on it, I just moved instantly.
Do you find big differences between StarCraft 2 and AoE4?
Yeah, I think it's very different. First, like in StarCraft 2, you just play one race. So like it's like one Civ on AoE4. On AoE4, you draft before the match. So like the game starts before the game, right? You have to draft properly. If you fuck up your draft, you're pretty much dead. You have to think about maps. The way it works too, like in StarCraft 2, you have a map pool for a while, for like 6 or 9 months, I think. On AoE4, you can just have a fresh new map pool for a single tournament. So I feel like you reward people for practicing very hard and for knowing everything about the game pretty much.
It is true what you're saying. It's true. Like the longer a game goes on, the better the players become. And if you leave the game for a while and then you come back, it's not only that you have to get adapted again to the meta or whatever new changes have been introduced, but also you're going to be facing players that have more experience than when you left. Did that demotivate you? No, you said that you just came back and did well, right?
At first it was weird because I was doing very, very bad. Like the first maybe 3 months, I was playing so much. So usually what I do when I want to win a tournament, basically like the whole year I'm pretty chill. And like 1 month before the big tournament, I'm just like cutting everything. I don't do anything else than playing pretty much. On StarCraft 2, when I came back, I just did that for the whole time. So like for like the first 3 months, I just played 12 hours a day, and I was just losing. Then I played tournament, I was losing too. So it was feeling a little bit bad at the start. I wasn't sure if I was good enough anymore.
Mhm.
But it's like that when you start always. So eventually, I knew like if I keep going and I keep learning, I should eventually catch up, and I caught up.
Speaking of those consecutive losses, right, that can actually hit into players' mind and kind of like depress the player, right, because you're facing too many losses in a row. How do you feel when that happens? How do you feel when you're on a best of 3 and you lose the first match? How do you come back from that, mentally speaking?
I mean, it really depends. Sometimes you lose in the best of 3 against a better player,
Uh-huh.
like the first map, and then you're just feeling done because you know like the guy is better than you and it's gonna be very hard. But when you feel like you're a better player than your opponent, it's like nothing big. For example, when I lost against Magic, I was like, okay, it's bad, obviously, but I know that if I play very well, it's not gonna happen again, and then I can climb back and be fine. So it really depends about your mental state and like how you feel about your position in the tournament. So at Red Bull Wololo, for example, I was feeling like I was the best. Didn't mean that I would win. It could
Mm-hmm.
mean like I would drop out very early if I didn't play the best instantly. But eventually, since I knew like I was going to do very well, I still was very confident and I knew I would come back.
To be fair, from our side, we would analyze every single detail from the Red Bull Wololo. And to be fair, we saw you very like you showed yourself pretty confident and pretty calm, whereas other players would be kind of like not struggling, but like they would appear to be more like nervous, right? With less confidence in themselves. But
Maybe yeah.
you would just show yourself like pretty chill on every matchup, even in the one that you lost. So before we get into deep into the world, though, congratulations, man! Congratulations, you're the best player in the world. You can say that, right?
Yeah, pretty
And,
much, yeah.
pretty much. No, you are the best player in the world. You beat very good players, top tier players. It's not like you had an easy bracket. I mean,
It was very hard bracket because of me, right? Because I lost in the group stage. But yeah, it was very hard.
Exactly. Like you were not meant to be facing those players until last stages of the tournament. But what happened on that first series against Magic?
It was a mixture of things, I feel. My draft wasn't the smartest, I think, but it was pretty alright. It was just like, if I could go back in time, I mean, I would not change anything, right? Because I won the tournament eventually. But if you say you have to win this best of 3 or you're out, I will not pick French. I will pick Ottomans instead. And I feel like that would be a good matchup for Arabia. Ottomans against French and maybe Ottomans instead of the opposite. Otherwise, like he played the water very well. And I think Magic was very good, honestly. So it was not like I lost to a terrible player and then he got like destroyed by everyone else. I lost to him and then he won against Linnock pretty convincingly. So like kudos to him, right? He played very well and I lost his best of 3.
That's true. Magic played out of his mind. That series was awesome from him. Was awesome. And after that, you moved on to the elimination round. Not the last chance, but if you lost, that would have been your last chance of sticking to the tournament. How did you prepare yourself for that day? Like, what were you thinking the night before when you were laying down in bed?
I mean, nothing too different. Like, in the end, you can lose once in group stage, and then you can still win the tournament. For example, in N4C, I won every group stage match, and then I lost in the playoff when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
So, here losing in the group stage, it didn't feel too bad. Like, I was just praying for not playing against the Muslim in the decider match if I went there, because I really didn't want to eliminate him. He's very good, and I felt like he was going to be a very dangerous opponent in the bracket. But sadly, we met.
Yep.
And for the match against Swam, I'm not sure. I feel like I shocked a little bit at the start. The first 2 games, I think I played terribly. It was by far my worst series of the tournament, I think. And then eventually, like the 3rd game, I was feeling more confident. It was a weird matchup with Rus against English on water. But I was thinking like if I just played normal, I should eventually win. And this one was a big confidence boost because like I just had one more match to go to playoff. And I felt really like if I reached playoff, I would win the tournament pretty easily. So I wasn't sure 100%, right?
Pretty.
I mean, people were not trusting me, I guess, because I lost in the group stage and that was looking pretty bad. But I knew, like, if I reached playoff, I practiced so hard and my practice was going way too good for me to lose.
I mean, pretty easily. I don't think it was pretty easily having to face the Muslim and Beastie Cutie
Yeah,
in
it was really hard.
semifinals. Like, man, that match. I mean, the match against the Muslim. It was a funny match, right? Because you guys got a special relationship, right? Between
Yeah,
you
we are very
and
good friends, but so
uh-huh.
it was a little bit sad meeting him that fast. But
Wow.
I lost and he lost, so that's part of the game.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, the first game, like, I remember because after the first game, I felt not really down because I just felt like I played a very good game and I still lost. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just better than me and I'm gonna lose this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a fine game to me to lose because I was just like, okay, I played very well. I just didn't know exactly how to play this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what I do, like if I play that well and I still lose, just means I'm not good enough. But then I still had two very good matchup coming up. I knew like a French against Mongols, I was pretty confident, and HRE against Chinese was pretty much 50-50. So it
Mm-hmm.
was not like I was totally out. It was just like, okay, first game he played very well. We will see what goes next, but I still had my chance, obviously.
It is quite impressive, the confidence that you have on yourself, and how you remain calm, even though you're one match away from losing the tournament.
Yeah.
You're one match away, but and you just managed to keep it calm and chill and
Yeah.
get those 2 wins. Good. Okay, we could be talking about games all day long. Tell me about those. How many weeks were you guys there? A couple weeks sharing.
7 days. 7 days.
I was only 7 days. Okay, how
Yeah.
was life there? Did you guys sleep in the castle or you guys were in a hotel
No, we were in a hotel like.
next to the castle?
Actually, it was not next to it because basically you have only one way to the castle.
Mm-hmm.
So you can only go from the castle to the hotel in like 10 minutes. But if you want to go to the castle, you have to go out of the city and then you go back to the castle. So it's
Uh-huh.
pretty long. But yeah, it was, I don't know, it was insane. The castle was very big. We visited it a little bit and it was amazing, honestly. I've never experienced that in my whole life before. I did a lot of good StarCraft 2 tournament where like the production value was insane, but it was never that much.
We're playing in a real castle, a castle
Yeah.
from years and years ago. That had to be very, very impressive. And
Yeah, it was.
what about the experience of sharing those 7 days with other players? Did you know those players from other tournaments, like StarCraft 2, for example? Because the Muslim used to play StarCraft 2, B Security used to play StarCraft 2 too. Did you guys had you guys met before in any of those tournaments, or was that the first time?
It was the first time meeting a few players, actually. So Ut, he was a StarCraft 2 player, but I don't think I ever saw him in the past. And then it was like Puppy Po,
Mm-hmm.
Wham, I've never seen them. Recon, I've never seen him. And Kasva, Kashposh. Actually, it's pretty, yeah, it's a lot actually. Kasva and Kaposh too, I didn't see them. Everyone else, I saw them either at N4C or on StarCraft 2.
Okay,
So I still like knew everyone and I'm good with everyone. Recon is a very nice guy. Like Kaposh, I knew him too. I practiced a little bit with him. Same for the Canadian brother.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just good to be around everyone.
And what about Lucifron and Vortex? Those were our two Spanish representatives in the tournament.
I mean, actually, I don't know Lucifron since that long because he left the StarCraft 2 before I was a pro player. But obviously, I was looking up to him when I was a kid, pretty much. And Vortex, we were both on Millennium actually. So we were in the same team when I started. And then he left pretty early when I started, but still, I knew him from there. I don't know, I really like them. Lucifron and Vortex are like two of the people I practice with the most. And I think they have a good way to practice. They just go for a lot of games and they just try to be the best pretty much. So it's always good to practice with them.
You've basically been seeing the same faces every year since you started playing, right? It was first Vortex or Bisekiri, then the Muslim. You've been meeting the same people again and again in those different tournaments. Because, I mean, I don't know if this information is correct or not, but you've been in over 177 tournaments. Those are a lot of tournaments.
I think, I mean, it depends, right? I think offline, it's probably less than this. I'm not sure actually. But online, for sure, I have been more than that. I play like for 10 years maybe, so I think that's more. But In offline tournaments, I don't know, I would say maybe at least 50.
My God.
That's good.
It is a very good amount. It is a very good
Yeah.
amount. And what about the celebration? Did you guys celebrate? I mean, did you celebrate the victory with the rest of the players, or
To
everyone
be
went
honest,
home?
I had my flights pretty early on the next day. And at the same time, I'm not just like a party guy. So we just took a lot of pictures with everyone. Yeah, it was like at the castle pretty much. And then we went to the hotel lobby with some players and we just chilled there for like 2 or 3 hours. We were discussing everything and anything. But yeah, I'm not like gonna drink and go to the casino or whatever, right? I
No
don't do
drinks and no girls? Come on, MarineLord.
that. I have my girlfriend, but she wasn't there. So and yeah, I don't drink.
You guys couldn't invite your
We could.
girlfriends? Ah, you could?
Yeah, so like for example, Mista did that, but only for like the last 2 days. So I guess she was working before. Recon, he had his sister there. I don't remember like Wham and Pepipo actually had their third brother there. So they were actually three looking similar pretty much. And Linok had his wife. So a lot of people bring some people, but not everyone.
Linok, he had his wife? How old is he?
Yeah.
I thought he was...
Linok is the same age as me. I think he's 26 or 27.
Well, he got
But
married.
yeah, he's getting married next month, I think.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
That's good.
And you? What about you? Are you getting married anytime soon?
Oh no, I'm not a wedding guy, and I'm not a kid guy. I just want cats and dogs. That's it.
You're more of a dog person or a cat person?
I don't know, both.
Both. So
I always, I lived my whole life with dogs and cats. So
you
right
live...
now I have one and one basically.
Okay.
A small dog and a small cat.
You live with your girlfriend?
No, I live with my parents right now.
Okay. Let's not get into personal details. Let's talk about the game. What do you think about this new patch, this new maps, which I find personally a bit messy. I don't really like them, but what do you think about the new maps and cifs?
Do you mean for the RedBull tournament or for like the current patch? Like
this new patch, this new season.
I think the map pool is terrible, and I think they should. But I don't really get the problem. I know they can't add tournament maps to the ladder. I'm not sure why exactly, but apparently there is some problem with like if you bring map from tournaments that are only made for 1v1, it's not really possible to make them a team game map apparently, or like some stuff like that. Maybe they just don't have the rights. I'm not sure how it works, but I feel like they're just trying to copy tournament maps, and they basically are making bad version of it. And
I mean, they have a pool of like 700 maps from AoE2. They could be taking good ideas from that, right?
I mean, they are taking ideas, right? But for example, on ladder right now, we have some maps that are basically like 4 legs, but it's not really 4 legs because it's not as good and not as balanced. So yeah, I'm not too sure. But otherwise, I feel like the balance of the game is very good. We don't have as many bugs as before, so that's a very good improvement. But we still miss some very important feature like a pause. We don't pause, that's crazy. If you have a problem in the tournament and you can pause, it's, I don't know. That's crazy to me.
You can do that in AoE2, right?
I mean, you can do that in AoE4 against the computer, right? You just press F10 and you pause. So I'm not sure like why we don't have this for 1 year.
It was you, the player, who had some issue going on during the game? I don't think it was you. There was someone who actually called the manager like, hey, something's wrong here. And they had to like remake the game. I can't remember who it was.
Oh, we had that in the first game of the tournament, but it was because the admin, he was pretty excited and everything, and he forgot to give us the seed of the map. So we just started the map without a seed. So we just rehearsed, but no, it didn't happen to me. I was fine.
And what do you think about the new meta? Like the new meta, for what I've seen so far, the meta remains more or less the same. I mean, you have this water rework, like you now have to go water, but other than that, like people keep going 2TC, 3TC, just as they did in the last patch.
Yeah, but I think it's very different because last patch you could go TC without any units. Now, if you go TC without any units, you can't expand in a good place. So if you want to have a good place to expand, you need to make spears or like some units to defend it. And that's very good because you can force a lot of action-packed early game. And even if you have a second TC, if you have more units out on the map, you're not going to go for a third TC, you're going to go for like a pressure. So I think that's way better for the game. It's more interesting to see people actually try to make plays than just expanding forever until you
like are maxed out.
Like 3 or 4 TC. Yeah. pretty much.
Yeah. And that fits.
Yeah, I like.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was like, yeah, I can see like it doesn't look that different from your perspective, but actually as a pro, it feels very different, and I feel like it was a very good patch.
Nice. That's good news.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, that actually fits perfectly within your playstyle because you're a very aggressive player in the early stages, and now we're gonna see earlier aggression coming in. Good. And what about the civs? The new civs? Do you find any civs stronger now in this new patch? Because like we had Russ being a very strong civ in the previous patch. Any stronger civ in this new one?
I mean, to me, I think Malians is very weak.
Yeah.
Because of their unit roster, I think they just don't have a lot of good units. So it's pretty hard to play them. Ottomans, I think, is pretty good. It's not like the best, but it's a well-balanced civ. And I like the mechanics about it. And then I would say Chinese is broken. It's like by far the best at the top level. And then the rest is pretty equal. So just like, I feel like if you just buff Malians a little bit and nerf Chinese a little bit, we should have a very, very balanced game.
And if you had to give some advice to players for this new patch, what would that be?
That's very hard, right? Because it's always matchup dependent. But I guess I think scouting is the most important for lower level people. It's very easy to do, and it's very easy to understand what's going on if you do it well. And then you don't have to micro or macro as well as your opponent if you just understand what's going on and you take the right decision. So I feel like most of the time when I see lower level people, they just don't scout properly and don't react accordingly. But if they do so, it will be way easier for them to win.
So basically, if we happen to lose our scout in the first 5 minutes of the game, we have to make a new one.
Yeah, it really depends which civ you play and on which matchup. But like for example, against actually it's harder. Against Delhi, for example, you don't need to scout as much. You know, like they're gonna play aggressive towards second sight, right? But if you play against pretty much any other civs, you need to know how many TCs are gonna make. And it's an aggressive meta, so if you just make a stable and you start off with a scout, it's not that expensive of an expense basically. Like you can just go scout into Horseman and do some pressure with it, and it will be useful.
With this new patch, ranked team games have popped in. And this tournament that we were talking about before, this 40K tournament, which is coming up soon, is a team tournament.
Yeah.
Now, first thing, do you have your teammate? Do you have a teammate for the tournament?
We're playing with BSTQT and Demuslim. And the sub, it's more for like... normally we will not play with a sub, right? It's just like in case there is some emergency or whatever. It's gonna be Serral, which is very cool.
Serral's gonna be playing. I've seen Serral was. Well, I mean, it's the best StarCraft 2 player at the moment, right?
Yeah, he's the best.
But he's also playing AoE4, and I think that he's managed to make it to like Conqueror 3 in like no time, right?
Yeah, I mean that's very easy for like a good StarCraft player, I think, to make it very high on AoE4. But yeah, he's very good. But as I said, normally he should not play. So. We might see him stream with me, like play some ladder game or whatever, practice. But normally in tournaments, he should be not playing.
So you're going together with BSTQT and Demuslim. Don't you think that's an abuse? Like you guys, I think you guys are too good.
I mean, we are very good, right? But on paper, the Mista, Lucifer and Vortex, that's very strong too. Very, very strong.
Yeah, they're strong.
So
they're strong. Yeah. And speaking of team games, we've seen, or at least I've seen, crazy strategies coming out from those team games, right? Like we've seen Malians going for very, very early trade and acting more as a support player than an actual player. Like they make absolutely no military units; they just trade and give resources to their teammates. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think we're gonna see a lot of cheese, and they're gonna be very dangerous. But still, the problem to me with Malians is that, okay, you can go for your cheese, but if it's countered properly, then you just have an equal game with a Civs that doesn't really have a good late game or like any good units for late game. So I think we're going to see a lot of good cheese that's going to be very interesting. But still, like Malians, I don't see them very valuable. As you said, maybe with Etchery, where you give a co to your friend, so they have a very good economy and you support them. But eventually, if you reach a late game, it's very hard for them to shine. So Malians, I'm not too sure. everyone else, we're gonna see pretty much everyone else a lot, I think. Mongols is very good in team game.
Mm-hmm.
English is very good. Chinese, obviously, but it's just good everywhere in every case.
If,
But
if
yeah, you have a lot of cool cheese.
if China is that good of a Civ, why don't we
Mhm.
see it that often?
I think that was mostly because we banned them a lot, right, in Red Bull Wololo. So I think it was either banned and then first picked every time. And I think it had a good win rate, right? I think it was like 70% win rate.
Yeah, but we didn't see
So
we didn't see too many matches. I
yeah,
remember the one from the Muslim and the one from BCQD, and that was it.
yeah. I mean, for me, for instance, against Pepipo,
Mm-hmm.
we vetoed China both once, so we couldn't play them.
Mm-hmm.
Against BC, he vetoed China, so I had to veto China because I was BC. Then it was, I mean, it's pretty technical, but I just wanted to mirror my opponent's ban to not have any bad surprise. So let's say if I don't ban China and he ban it once, he can first pick it, which is terrible because I don't want to play against China. And same against Mister. He just doesn't play China, so he just vetoed the Chinese twice. So that's why we didn't see them actually most of the time. It was just people vetoing them.
Banning it. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
still French your favorite Civ?
Mm,
Oh.
I mean, it's still my surprise, I guess. Like people don't expect it to be good, and I'm still doing good with them. But I don't think I have a favorite Civ. I'm just fine with any.
In the Wololo, in the Red Bull Wololo, commentator said that it was your signature Civ.
Yeah, it is pretty much like since the release of the game.
Uh-huh.
But right now it's not as good. And signature doesn't mean it's like the funniest to me, but I still have a lot of fun playing them. It's more like some civs I don't have as much fun. For example, Mongols and Delhi, I think they are very strong, but they are very cheesy. And I don't like cheese. I just like to play very well and go for a good late game, pretty much. With Delhi, you obviously can't do that because they don't have a late game. And Mongols, you don't have walls, so it's very hard to play them in late game properly, I think.
True. Are you when practicing with BCQD and the Muslim, are you guys going for just like normal gameplay, like okay, you go China, I try to defend you here because you're Mongol or stuff like that, or you're thinking more in like like looking for synergies, like okay, what if imagine for example Malians gave cows to this Civ and then you can like mass men at arms or knights, or what if Mongols trade with are you guys looking into like synergies between Civs or just like okay, I'll pick this Civ, you play this one, and we win the game?
It really depends on which map we practice, but I would say for now, yeah, we look for synergies. We also look because it's a weird format, right? So let's say I play the first 2v2 and I pick French. Then we won't be able to play French in 3v3 and in the next 2v2. So we have to, I guess,
Pick carefully.
Be careful, yeah. Pick carefully, and obviously, like for example, people know I'm playing French very well, and I like them. Unlike BCQT, doesn't like French, and Demosim doesn't like French. So if we pick French, we're gonna pick it for me like 2v2 or 3v3. So same for like, I don't know, Demosim, he really likes Ottomans, for example. So maybe we're just gonna give Ottomans more to him. Same for like a Beastie, he likes HRE a lot, he likes China a lot. So it's more like we try to pick good combination and to be smart about like what's going to work or not. And at the same time, we want obviously a strong Civ depending on which player plays what.
So should we expect cool strategies and Civ selection coming from you guys in this tournament?
I think from everyone, honestly. Since we are forced to play 8 different Civ in best of 3, we're gonna see for sure a big variety of strategy. But yeah, obviously the goal is still to win, right? Some people, they look cool and they lose, so I prefer to not look cool and win.
Totally. Are you excited about the tournament?
Yeah, like obviously the few last tournaments, they were very big and it was 1v1. And it was like very important to me. This one is still important to me, but it's just a chill tournament. We're gonna have a lot of fun. It's not stressed at all.
Nice. It's more like a fun tournament to play with friends.
Yeah, it's a fun tournament with a big chunk of money. So
I mean, if you win the tournament, it's 40K. Okay.
It's 12K for the first place. Yeah, 40K for everyone, but still, like 12K is a big chunk of money.
Oh, it's a good amount.
Yeah,
it's a good amount. Okay, MarineLord. Before we finish the interview, would you like to send any message out there to your fan base or to the AoE4 players? Anything you would like to say?
Thanks for the interview. It was fun. Thanks everyone for watching too. That's cool. Thanks everyone for supporting me at every tournament. And yeah, I don't know. Thanks everyone. And I'm sure I'm gonna keep winning. I still have the motivation to do well. Maybe not like forever, right? I'm still 27, and maybe like in 10 years I won't be playing, right? But at least like in the near future, I just want to win everything and to be the best forever on this game.
Who knows, man? Who knows? This is like pretty. I mean,
Yeah, who knows?
Our parents didn't get to be gamers,
Yeah.
but who knows about us? Maybe you're 35 and you're still playing this well and winning tournaments.
Yeah, who knows? I don't want kids. I don't want a big family. So maybe I will just have a cat in 10 years and still play video games.
Hey, I would take that lifestyle too.
Yeah.
I have my cat. I have my cat walking around the room now.
That's good.
MarineLord, thank you very much, man. You're a great guy, man. You're a great guy. Thanks. And it was a pleasure getting to know you better. And I wish you the best for this tournament and for all these remaining years of gaming life that you still have in front of you. Again, thank you very much. It's been an honor, and I hope to see you soon again.
Yeah, see you, man. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Guys, thank you very much to everyone for being here with us today. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure, and we will be back on with new interviews soon, okay? Please hit the follow button here, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.